Hi, today I'm going to speak to you about a major victory for patients' rights in our country. I'm Siva Naidu. Independent pharmacies in our country have their own voice. The Independent Pharmacy Association is their representative body. I've been a keen spectator and observer of a battle that they have been waging with the government's statutory body, namely the Council for Medical Schemes, which I will refer to as the CMS. It's been an 8-year, relentless, and arduous fight. Why is this fight in the public interest? And what was this fight all about? Whose rights are we talking about here? Why is this matter so important for us as consumers of pharmaceutical products? Let's examine the issues and uncover why and how this fight started, who were the contestants, and what was the outcome of this expensive battle between the government and the industry body, the ICPA. All of us buy medicines, either prescribed or over the counter medicines. Medical schemes in this country, which are privately owned, are governed and regulated by the Medical Schemes Council. It's a regulatory body, and the industry players are expected to ensure regulatory compliance. The ICPA, which represents independent practitioners, have consistently called on the Council for Medical Schemes to declare certain practices of medical schemes undesirable. I would like to call it unfair business practices. So, what are these undesirable practices that the industry association is calling foul? I took some time to find out. What is at stake here is the medical schemes unilaterally set about determining the criteria they apply when selecting their designated service providers. They go about doing this in a manner without going out on tender to give the smaller pharmacies an opportunity to be part of the designated service provider panel. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that only a select few, namely the big players, get onto the DSP panel. These big pharmacies are a common find in the big shopping complex, what we call the malls. Another anomaly is that the medical schemes peg how co-payments are calculated, often resulting in certain schemes charging a so-called penalty co-payments. The CMS response left one bewildered. It argued that the demand by the ICPA was certainly not a step in the right direction. However, the ICPA was having none of it. They appealed the decision in June 2016 and won it. It was a great victory for them. However, the CMS, for more than a year, failed to initiate the process to declare the practice undesirable. What they did instead was to publish a notice in the government gazette inviting interested and affected parties for their comments. After the due date for comments passed, the CMS failed to inform the industry association the outcome of their investigations. After doing battle and exerting pressure on the CMS informed the association that their decision would be stayed. In short, the CMS were saying that their decision not to declare the practice undesirable stands. Obviously, the ICPA was unhappy with the CMS stance. They opted to appeal the CMS decision in April 2019. More than a year later, in July 2020, the appeal judge ordered that the appeal by the ICPA is upheld, that the decision by the CMS is set aside, that the CMS is ordered to immediately proceed with the decision by the appeal board dated June 2020 by continuing the process in terms of the Medical Schemes Act. The CMS is also implored to update the ICPA on developments. The judge rebuked the CMS for their irrationality, for the reasons by the judge CMS for pending the process. The judge took issue with the marked reluctance on the part of the CMS to initiate the process, declaring the practice desirable. He also castigated the unexpected attitude of the CMS to frustrate the legal process asked for by the ICPA. The apparent stratagem of the CMS to avoid, if not frustrate, the implementation of the process. On the other hand, the ICPA came for great praise by the judge, who surmised that the association is a highly credible and representative body with a representative voice and deserves to be treated with respect. The association's chairperson, Sham Mudley, said the ICPA consistently persevered over the past 8 years without any response from the CMS. He said, and I quote, "The judgment recently certainly augurs well for the independent pharmacy industry. We always been the voice of reason for our members and the community we serve. I urge the CMS to speedily complete the process to declare the closed DSP and co-payments as undesirable practices. The judgment, in my considered view, will restore the rights of patients to not only select their healthcare professional of choice, but also to ensure that they do not encounter any unnecessary out-of-pocket expenses," unquote. The ICPA's recent victory against clicks and now against the CMS places the ICPA firmly in the forefront of patients' rights in the pharmaceutical sector. This augurs well for consumers in our country. I thank you.